burning question on my heart. I've been thinking about it all day long, and I think you're one of the few guys, if the only men's physique Olympian coaching another Olympian. What inside of you, who are you, Mehdi, that makes you want to help someone in that way? Because I think it's beautiful, brother.
I'm like, if you're not ready to do something a week out, what makes you think you're ready for the Olympia? That's about a week apart. How much can you really be ready in a week? So when I got to talk to Emil in the press conference, I honestly was just very blunt and honest with him.
What businesses do you have?
Protein powders and pre-workouts and stuff. What do you got?
We started with a pre-workout that's primarily based on nootropics rather than stimulants. I'm not a believer on high stimulant pre-workouts because majority of people nowadays are trendy with the pre-workout, which means they look for things that have high caffeine, and they lack the understanding that caffeine is a vasoconstrictor rather than a vasodilator.
Does your discipline in religion play a part of, or is synonymous with your discipline in terms of being a bodybuilder?
I believe this. I believe that men have to be disciplined. And this is just a philosophy in life for me. As a man, you have to be disciplined. Discipline takes you places that being motivated will never arrive to. And I think it's bodybuilding that allowed me to be disciplined in other aspects of life.
Who impressed you the most at the last Olympia?
I think physique-wise, right?
Yeah. Physique-wise, yeah.
Physique-wise, the guy from China who took 6th.
Fuyan. When you do your front pose and you come into your front pose, it's very unique. You do a transition from face to curtain and then you turn around and you almost have a matador-like posture when you're on stage. It reminds me a lot of like a matador and a bull coming at him. What made you adopt that style or that look? Was it something that just felt natural to you, or did you pull that from somewhere?
So I've been criticized a lot in the past on the posing for quite a while, and it's because I was just overthinking it. First time I had the pose was on stage.
Wow.
So
are you serious?
The last 5 shows, the last 6 shows, I go straight to the stage. I hit it right where I want it. What would you rather be? The guy who has, let's just say, an automatic weapon, right? And 100 ammos, and it's just shooting everywhere and hits the target maybe once or twice? Or do you want to be the guy that's just a sniper? 1 bullet, 1 shot, straight dead on and you're out. I said, everybody says a sniper. I said, well, that's what I do with my posing. I'm there for 15 seconds. They give us 45 seconds. I never take 45 seconds. Yeah, let's get into it. That's awesome.
Gentlemen, Mehdi Kabbadj is on
Let's
the
go.
show. One of the king of Morocco. We've been talking about him for years. He's finally here. Welcome, brother. I want to introduce our 2 hosts. First and foremost, we have Avomp, which is the Australian voice of men's physique. Philip Naselli is in the building. Mehdi, I'm sure you've been hearing and watching his videos and seeing his rise and his passion for the men's physique division. Phil, what's going on?
Hart, what's happening? Liam, Mehdi, what's going on, boys? Mehdi, thanks for jumping on, brother. Like I said to you earlier, I'm like, man, it was so exciting to get you on the call. I mean, we spoke to Emil a couple of weeks back. He revealed the early Christmas gift that he's now working with you, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can do with him, and more importantly, what you can do with all your clients, even yourself moving into 2026. We can't forget that. We know that you've qualified for the O as well. So yeah, looking forward to chatting to you all things bodybuilding, coaching, life, the works, man. And again, thanks for jumping on the call, man.
That's awesome, guys. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the videos you guys are making. It's exciting to be able to hear in different voices. It's also exciting to be able to hear different perspectives because everybody got their authentic voice that they utilize to reach through their platform. So having you guys together is an awesome thing. So every time I see a video, I was like, hold on, let me cancel the noise around. I want to hear this.
Love that.
Speaking of authenticity, our second host on the channel is Masters Men's Physique Pro. We call him the Gaffa. We got Aleem Bolton in the building. Aleem, what's going on?
What's going on? Assalamu alaikum, Aki. How's it going, man?
It's going great, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Well, so happy, man. Like the fella said, we were looking forward to this interview. Emil, when he dropped that he had a new coach and he was a competitor, that already had us intrigued. You know, it was like to have someone who is like literally might be on stage with you, competing against you, but still has the honor and the humbleness to see the greatness in him and extrapolate that and bring that out was just so fascinating. So we're excited to have to get into this conversation with you, get into this interview, really do a deep dive into that. And I had an opportunity to compete. I think we were at the Atlantic. Was it the Atlantic Pro? I think you were at last year or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I was at that show. I did that show too, and lots to get into, man. So we're excited. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, let's get into it. That's awesome.
Well, I have a burning question on my heart. I've been thinking about it all day long, and it goes back to Mehdi when we all interviewed Emil Walker, and he briefly spoke about someone who stopped him backstage, and this other competitors just said, "Hey, you know, there's certain things that you could be doing, Emil, where you should be winning shows." And we heard in Emil Walker's voice that you cared for him so much. And I feel like that is very rare to see that from fellow competitors, where you, Mehdi, as a competitor, as an Olympian, want to see another guy reach the highest level. That was amazing to hear, brother. And I don't think we find that very often. I think you're one of the few guys, if the only men's physique Olympian, coaching another Olympian. What inside of you, you know, who are you, Mehdi, that makes you want to help someone in that way? Because I think it's beautiful, brother.
When I saw Emil, it was at the athletes meetings, and what I did notice is when I went to Italy, he wasn't competing because that was like a week out of the Olympia, right? And I was like, okay, Omar's there, everybody's there, and Emil is not, and I wondered why. And then when I talked to Omar, then Omar said, well, Emil was just 5 weeks out, and he didn't feel like he was ready to do it. And in the back of my head, I'm like, if you're not ready to do something a week out, what makes you think you're ready for the Olympia? That's about a week apart. How much can you really be ready in a week? So when I got to talk to Emil in the press conference, I honestly was just very blunt and honest with him. I remember I'm like, what a waste. And in an offensive, not offensive way, it's just the honest way and honest truth. So you have all the tools. It's like you have all the tools, the genetic structure, the muscle bellies, and man, if you put discipline to that, and if you put the right information combined with discipline, what it can be is amazing, And so, to me, at the very least, I speak that conversation with anybody that I see, whether that's Emil or anybody else. I speak that conversation with anybody that I see that they're somewhere that they're supposed to be somewhere else. In a sense, they are not tapping into that potential, right? And so that's what happened, man. We were just hanging out, and I told him, I was like, "Look, man." I'm like, you're wasting a lot of potential out there. I'm like, I'm not genetically as gifted, if you want to be honest with the conversation. I was like, I'm doing it. And so if you have this type of potential, shame on such a waste of potential. And I think I didn't approach it in a conversation of like, let me help you. I just approached it directly like, hey, you're wasting time. Get off your butt. You don't have that many years. Right? Get off your butt and get this thing going. If you're going to do it, it's now or never. And I just walked out of the conversation just a friendly conversation, an honest conversation. I fear not telling people the truth that I see in front of me, and I was able to tell them that. And then later is when we linked up about that same conversation. And the reason why I saw that is because I saw the food in his hand, and it didn't make sense to me, the food. So it was a combination of food that you shouldn't combine being 3 days out. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, there's fiber. Okay, there's fiber and there's protein. So if there's just those two, that means he's depleting still. But then I also see a rice cake and an almond butter, and I'm like, those are not depleting compounds. So what are they doing in the same plate, sitting with fiber and protein? So what is he doing? I was curious. Like, what is that? And that's why my eye kept looking at them, like, and then I look at him. I said, "So are you carbing up or down?" Or that's when the conversation started. So it was just curiosity of the plate of food he had made no sense to me.
Man,
That's a coach and I.
Yeah,
For
That's
real.
a coach and I if I've
High-level
ever
coaching.
seen one. Just to pick apart a plate and to just dissect it 3 days out from a show, not even like, no, not even being your own competitor at the time, and just telling. And I think that's what makes a good coach, to be able to honestly tell an athlete or a competitor what needs to be done and how to do it. I think nowadays a lot of coaches like to sugarcoat things to not offend the coaches, but to be as direct as what you were with. And Emil wasn't even your client at the time, just speaks volume about the type of coach that you are. I want to talk about you as a coach, man. How long have you been coaching for? You've been doing it for a while?
I honestly been doing as long as I've been competing, I would say. And it wasn't, and I didn't never wanted to be a coach. I never aspired to be one. I never aspired to be even a competitor. I didn't care to be a competitor. I didn't care to be a coach. I just cared to be better tomorrow than I am today, or better today than I was yesterday. And because of that, I needed to accumulate a certain amount of information needed. And so that's what made me seek the information out there, right? Because I believe there's a correlation of how genetically blessed you are with the amount of information you collect. The more genetically blessed you are, the less information you collect. The less genetically blessed you are, the more you seek information, because you got to close the gap between you and the people that are genetically blessed. So I think being genetically blessed is a curse for a lot of people, because they don't have, it comes a little bit easier, so they don't need to collect detailed data to be able to make a difference in their physique, because their physique changes with very minimal approach. And so for me, my physique didn't do that. And because my physique didn't do that, I needed to find finite details. I needed to understand the anatomy, the physiology, the endocrinology of the system, so that I can make those differences in my physique. That's all I was seeking. I didn't want to be a competitor. I didn't want to be a coach. Now, as I was finding the information and seeking learning in the universe, what happened is now I see people with similar problems, and then questions would pop, and I'll just answer the questions. And my physique is improving as I'm going forward. I turned myself pro. I got myself to the pro league with the information that I gathered. And so it was never my intent to be a coach or to compete. It's just, I like to say that the man who likes walking will walk further than the man who likes a destination. I just like to walk. And so I ended up where I ended up.
That's strong. That's strong. Are you Muslim, or
Yes.
what's your, yes? Okay. Cause I remember seeing, I believe it's your wife in the back, in the, behind the stage. And we were all pumping up, and I saw her making sure like you were right on with your diet, and you were pumping up correctly, and you were actually talking to a couple of people in the background, and then she pulled you aside and was like, it's time to pump up and get ready. Describe that relationship that you have with your wife, and how she helps you prepare for shows, and how she's in your corner, because you don't see that level of tandem partnership, especially behind the stage like you guys had.
Well, to be honest, I'm not married, but
Okay.
yeah. So when it comes to preparing for shows, whether that I am in a relationship or not in a relationship, the amount of detail that I pour into the prep itself, it would be really ridiculous of me at the last moments of getting on stage should not be even that much detailed. And so when I'm backstage, or I pretend through the whole process, once I land whatever I'm gonna compete, that I'm by myself, in a sense of not with other competitors, not with anything else. I isolate myself psychologically, and I just keep on focusing on the mission that I have in front of me, if that makes sense. And so when I'm backstage, I'm not paying attention when everybody else is pumping up and whether everybody else is eating gummy bears and Pop Tarts and whatever else anybody else is doing. I just stay on task with what I collected as far as information that I know that works for me. And I just keep away from any distractions that take me away from the process of peaking correctly, if that makes sense.
Does your follow up to that then? Does your discipline in religion play a part of, or is synonymous with your discipline in terms of pumping up and just your approach to the game itself, to the division itself, and being a bodybuilder, or just that's who you are, that's who you've always been, and that's always been your approach?
I believe this. I believe that men have to be disciplined. And this is just a philosophy in life for me. As a man, you have to be disciplined. Discipline, takes you places that being motivated will never arrive to. And I think it's bodybuilding that allowed me to be disciplined in other aspects of life. So the way you do one thing, the way you do everything. So what I mean by that is like if you walk in somebody's house and it's pretty immaculate clean, you're not going to go to their car and it's going to be destruction. It's going to be pretty clean. And then their mind is pretty organized. And then their office is pretty organized. So the way you do one thing, the way you do everything. So the way that I am with bodybuilding, the way that I am with my religion, the way that I am with my relationships with people, the way that I am with my business. It just translates all around. That's what I like about bodybuilding for myself, because bodybuilding didn't entice the dark side of me. It enticed the brightness in me. So in a sense, it made me want to do more. It made me want to give more. And more importantly, it made me way more disciplined than I would ever been. So that's why I keep bodybuilding in my life. It's not the trophy. It's not the accolades. Those are just like the cherry on the cake. But what bodybuilding does to me is that discipline of waking up in the morning and doing cardio. While I'm doing cardio, I'm actually already replying to business questions that I have to deal with, employees, all of the stuff that I have to do. I make a note organizer of all the tasks for the day. Once that 45 minutes or 30 minutes of cardio is done, I already have my game plan for the whole day, how I'm going to attack the day. I show up home, I'm ready to go. I take a shower, eat the first meal, I'm out the door. I show up to business, people are sluggish and walking down. I'm up. I'm ready to conquer the day.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're spot on. I feel like anyone that's in this sort of bodybuilding lifestyle, fitness lifestyle, you can just tell the difference between two different people. People that are in it for good and they love the lifestyle, and people that are just your everyday normal person. Because, and I tell this to my clients as well, what you do with fitness will translate with everything you do in your life. If you're disciplined with your diet, your training, your nutrition, your steps, your cardio, you'll be that type of person that, goes to work on time and is there early, they're prepared. It's just, I don't know, me personally, by doing this my whole life, I feel like bodybuilding and this fitness lifestyle kind of transformed everything in my life and has made me a much more disciplined person in all avenues of what I do with business, the works. But I want to ask you a question about, I want to go back to bodybuilding. But what got you into bodybuilding? Because I know a lot of people, when they did get into bodybuilding, it's always because they did another sport and they got injured, and then they transferred into the bodybuilding lifestyle because they were in the gym, etc. But I want to know from you, what got you into the gym? What got you started with bodybuilding?
Two things. One is when I came to the States, I was studying computer science, and I was a full-time student, international student. So I was doing 12 to 16 units per semester. I had 2 to 3 jobs then. So the only thing that I would look forward to is going to the gym. So let's just say the bus would drop me after my job at 2 o'clock in the morning by a 24-hour fitness. That's literally what it. So there was one exit next to 24 and then the next one where home was. So I would stop the exit before so that I can go straight to the gym, get the workout at 2 o'clock in the morning, then knock out, then get up at 7 a.m., go to school, and then do it all over again. So the gym was just the place this is happy land. So it was just the one thing that I would look forward to, that when I wake up in the morning, it gave me the ability to get through the school, get through work, so that I can go train at 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. So it's the carrot. So that's what the gym was. And then the other reason why exactly bodybuilding, I have never been fan of collective sports, because if somebody else screw up, then it's our screw up, right? I like to take responsibility of my actions completely. And I like other people to take responsibility of their actions completely. And so the only way to do that is if I do a sport that allow me to gauge my effort personally without the interference of other people. And so that's why bodybuilding was the choice.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing, because your story resonates so much to mine. Because when I started going to the gym, I started going at like 16 years old. And back when I started, especially in Australia, the whole gym culture wasn't a big thing. It kind of took off when, you may have heard of like Ziz, for example. He started to really popularize the gym culture in Australia. And when I was growing up, I was the skinny guy who never really went to the gym. And I was always scared to tell people, because you always got judged. It's like, why are you going to the gym? And what made me laugh was the fact that I used to catch the bus as well and stop before, so no one actually knew that I was going to the gym. And then I would go to the gym and I'll train, and then I would buy a tub of protein and hide it in my bag, so that when the school kids saw me later, they wouldn't even question where I went. They're like, oh, you're at the bus stop early. I'm like, oh, I'm at the bus stop because I just caught the early bus, not knowing that, or they didn't know that I actually went to the gym. And then what you said about with bodybuilding, it's all on you. That's also a reason why I got into the gym, because I played soccer my whole life. And if you lost the game, it was because of everyone or someone's mistake, or maybe your mistake. Whereas with bodybuilding, it's all on you. You're the one that needs to get your ass up, go to the gym, train, diet, the work. So you made me laugh, because I'm like, what you're saying is what I was going through as a kid. And I'm sure a lot of other kids out there are going through the exact same thing. So to hear it from you, man, it's like, okay, we're all in the same boat. We all know what it feels like. And it's okay to go to the gym if you are a little bit scared to go to the gym, or, go at all hours of the day to kind of, do it whenever you need to do it, man. So like, that was really, really cool to hear.
Yeah. One thing I know that's going to surprise all you guys, but tell us about, coming from me as the gaffer, what are some of the businesses that you have, and how do you structure your day with your business? Yeah. So what businesses do you have, and how do you navigate your day with, the training, the coaching, and all that in your businesses? If you could go into that a little bit for us.
So I do have a few supplement shops in California. And then we have a personal training gym. We have our online coaching business. Those are all under the same umbrella. And then I do some real estate as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Following, you sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger with the real estate over there.
So the businesses that have to do with fitness is just capitalizing on the bodybuilding aspect, if that makes sense, because we all know that bodybuilding itself is a sport. The winnings are not significant enough for you to be able to do much with them. So you have to be able to use where you're at in life in the bodybuilding journey to be able to capitalize on that. A lot of people in the area like to come support us in our business right here and work with us, whether that's coaching, whether it's supplementation. So I started with one location, which was 2019. I got my second location 2021, third location 23, and fourth location 24, end of 24. And so, it's been just, honestly, it all goes hand in hand. I'm in the same industry. It's not like I'm in food industry or wine industry. So I'm in something that's conducive to bodybuilding. And so I'm just living and breathing in a lifestyle that just makes bodybuilding easier. And bodybuilding makes my business just as easy.
Nice. You said you had a supplement company as well?
Yeah, I started my own supplement brand, I would say about 3 years ago. And we are doing it just in brick and mortar. And so it stays in our locations because it allows for people, the demand is really high on it, which is really good. So it's good, clean product. So it allows us to control its distribution to keep it just brick and mortar. So people have to come to our locations, which is a plus.
Yeah, so you actually draw the crowd in part of because of the demand for the product. And you said it's all organic. Is this made in Morocco, or where do you make the
No,
product?
just right here. I linked up with some manufacturers that already produce for top brands. Over the years, I was able to write down and get some formulas down that I wanted to do. And so I was able to just build a few products on the shelf that honestly do well. And so just from connections to all of these vendors, you know, you build that's a network that you build, and that's the
Yeah.
awesome thing about bodybuilding is I built a extensive network. Everything that I need, I don't even have to go online and just grab a phone number and look up my roster of phone numbers. I can find somebody.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely.
What do you got in the product line? Like protein powders and pre-workouts
No,
and stuff. What do you
we
got?
started with a pre-workout that's primarily based on nootropics rather than stimulants. So I'm not a believer on high stimulant pre-workouts because majority of people nowadays are trendy with the pre-workout, which means they look for things that have high caffeine, and they lack the understanding that caffeine is a vasoconstrictor rather than a vasodilator. And so, you know, people are going after the rush of the stim. Instead, we built something that's built on the tropics like lion's mane, alpha GPC, things that actually feed the brain. And so allows you to stay focused without the caffeine, which also entice the body to have better vasodilation through all the vasodilators. So I just built something that over the years, I felt like I had to go buy three, four different products and piece it together and make it for my career. I just ended up, since I know the manufacturers, like, hey, can you make me this? And so I made it, sampled it, gave a ton of free samples of it, got super good feedback, and that's how we launched the first product. Second product was essential amino acids. I don't believe in branch chains. If you're gonna do amino acids, you gotta make the 9 essentials because those are the ones that the body doesn't produce. And so I went with the 9 essentials. They're also fermented, so they're from food rather than hair, nails of dogs and animals. So I just target quality and target something that's effective for the most part. But I'm not in the business of like expanding the brand quick. I'm in the business of figuring out what it is that I want and then taking on the next step of doing that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's amazing, man. Like, yeah, I'm a massive fan. Like, I'm literally drinking a nootropic drink right now. I mean, I'm a massive fan of, you know, the nootropics, the liamanes, the L-tyrosine, the alpha GPCs. And it's just good to see that, you know, you put a lot of thought and research into what you're creating. I feel like nowadays everyone's just trying to pump out as many products as they can and just, you know, make as much money as you can, whereas you're looking at quality over quantity. I'm just spewing, bro, that you don't send it to Australia. Now I've got to come to California and try it out. Damn.
Yeah. Let me know whenever you're in. We'll send you a bottle.
Done deal, bro. I'll be there. I'll be there.
Get Hart.
Mehdi, I have a question about genetics. You kind of spoke about it a little early on in the interview. First of all, I've always been a big fan of your physique, bro. It's just every time you step on stage, it's a very demanding physique when I look at you, bro, the way you pose, but also just your muscle separation and the way your muscle just forms on your body. Another Moroccan men's physique pro that we are all fond of, I know the boys are, is Kamal, who we've been seeing do some damage as of late. I want to know your thoughts, man. Like, what do you think of the Moroccan bodybuilding scene as far as the genetics of the Moroccan man itself? Do you think there's a lot of potential with Moroccan genetics and seeing, you know, what the future is for bodybuilding for Moroccan people?
I think that the culture in Morocco has a good positive, is very receptive to bodybuilding, but I do also think that there's a dark side to it that's not good at all. And let me put things into perspective. So whatever it is in the US, you know, salary wise, somebody in Morocco, like let's take my parents for example. My mom made $350 a month, right? US dollars. My dad, when he started his career as a teacher, he was making $500 a month, and he tapped out at 900. Now, imagine that's, your average people, and these are people that have jobs that, in the education sector or whatever, and so they have decent jobs. Now, you put that and you scale it in a country, you'll realize that the income is not conducive to the bodybuilding lifestyle, right? And so a lot of people are doing a lot of ungodly things so that they can do things like bodybuilding in Morocco. So that's what I don't like about the scene. And so whether that's, for example, spending their kids' money on PEDs and whatever they need to buy, whether that's taken from their parents and not being responsible, whether that's quitting school, whether that's whatever, they have this delusion that bodybuilding will pay, right? For me, at least for myself, if bodybuilding, what it costs me to do is significant to where it's going to take away from paying for my priorities, I will not be doing this sport. Mm-hmm. Because there's other important things that are way more of a priority than bodybuilding. So that's, I feel like, the dark side of it in Morocco. Also, the lack of knowledge. So people abuse a lot of the PEDs, a lot of the stuff in Morocco in hopes of, reaching a certain level. And they're not even taking it in a constructive way where it makes sense. The diet is not even there. There's so many things lacking, and they're just going the more the better type of mentality, right? And every now and then you'll see some good physiques emerge. The good physiques that you see emerge are fantastic, like Kamal's, very, very awesome physique. There's a few other bodybuilders, classic physique guys that are pros, few man's physique guys that are pros. Those guys are the guys that understood a little bit the game, were able to have connections to people that can help them build a diet and figure all the ins and outs of the bodybuilding. But the rest is just living in this dark pool. And I think we're going to have more, personally, what I see is just there's more health issues than good bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a sport that it's expensive. And doing it right is expensive. Look, it's not, I always tell people, it's not about how much it costs you to buy the PEDs. How to counteract what the negative side effect of the PEDs, that's a cost itself. The blood work, that's a cost itself. The quality of the food, that's a cost itself. The doctor that checks on you, that's a cost itself. This part right here is non-existent in Morocco. It's just this part that they're focusing on. Mm. So I feel like we're gonna lose a lot of lives for us to get few good bodybuilders, which I'm not an advocate of, if that makes sense.
Do you see a solution, Mehdi, to this?
Well, the solution at the end of the day is, okay, where does this all stems from? It stems from the Gen Z mentality, which is, I want it and I want it now, right? When I was in Morocco, I was on stage and they asked me, what's a piece of advice you would give to the people that are right here that love you and are fans? And then I said, I'm going to give them an advice that I know 90% of the people are not going to take, which is, guys, like I said, I did not plan on becoming a bodybuilder. Like I said, the man who likes to walk will walk further than the man who likes a destination. This is a journey of patience. There's no way to speed it up. No matter how much you take, you gotta be able to put in the years and time and effort. And you really guys gotta slow down. And just because you don't get it tomorrow doesn't mean that you're never gonna get it. It's something that's gonna take some time, and you have to be patient with it, especially if you want to do it in a healthy way. So it's a generational thing, I think, Hart. Because, brother, we have a lot of people that just want everything now. And that's not even just in bodybuilding, in life. Kids want everything now. Everybody wants everything now. Back then, well, I'd say biggest thing that I noticed in generational changes is people did enjoy the pain that it took to become who they were going to become, because they knew the character develops. One's character developed through the trenches, right? And so if you don't want to go through tough times, you're going to have no character. And we see that in bodybuilding, guys. There's a lot of guys that won shows and their character is not the character that they need to have as a winner.
Yeah.
And so they just got a quick win, and after that quick win, everything they say is not is detrimental. Everything they say is detrimental, and so slow and steady builds the character, and so it's a generational thing, as a problem that we have nowadays.
Do you that's right on. There are things that I've got two kids and two boys, and character is at the top of the list. Be honorable, be don't back away from your fears, go into them.
Yeah.
And learn from that, right? And patience. Patience is so important because delayed gratification will give you the victory at the end, and it shows you how to accept the victory and sustain it.
Yeah.
Quick wins, they dissipate quickly. Then you don't know how to get it back, and you're in shambles, right?
Yeah.
Because you haven't built up the character and the fortitude in order to persevere and do it again if you need to. So totally on the same page with you on that, 100%. What do you feel, and how do you feel about the promoters and the money that's given to the athletes right now? Do you see a world where I don't know? Are you a promoter yourself? Do you
No.
promote like the Morocco Pro Show or anything? No. Okay. Do you see a world where men's physique, the purse increases, like the open division, or anything like that? Do you see a world where that happens?
I think as time progresses, all the purses are going to increase. I think it's just a matter of time before it goes up. There's some promoters that are going to start paying 5,000, 10,000, and then the other ones have to come up because they want athletes to show up. The Boston Pro last year, they were doing 10,000. You had 30, 40 athletes. The Dubai Pro, 40,000. You had that many athletes, 50 something. So people are going to go where the money is at the end of the day, and it's going to push the promoters to be able to, increase the winnings. It's just going to increase with as much pressure as they get. The less pressure the promoters get, the less they increase it. It's going to be $500 increments. The less people are showing up to compete at their shows, the more it's going to be necessity. It's not they're not going to do it because they love you as the athlete and they want to reward you. They're going to do it because it makes sense financially to them, and they're going to start losing money on the seats. So the more seats that it brings, and the more athletes that it brings, the more money they make. The more money they make, the more money they can afford to give. It's at the end of the day a business, and we have to look at it as a business because that's how they view it. I mean, would you be in something as far as business that your return, you don't get a return, and you would still invest in it? Probably not. So to them, that's how they see it. It's relevant to the business itself and the seats. People ask me my opinion on where the money is for men's physique or comparing to bodybuilding and all of these things. I'll be honest with you, I have never, not once, paid attention to it. Because personally, as a men's physique athlete, look, majority of them, we can assume that they're in their mid-20s and up, right? A lot of them in their 30s and some of them in their 40s, right? Mm-hmm. These are responsible human beings, okay? If you feel like you are not valued by the $2,000 you're getting, if you were at a job working that's not paying you well enough, you would have went and looked for another job. So if it's stroking your ego that you're a bodybuilder and that's why you sit there clinging to the $2,000, that's your responsibility as the athlete. I don't see it. It's like it's like a relationship. If you feel undervalued in a relationship, then why you keep going back to the same toxic person? And so
Sure.
in the end, these people are like, oh, the purse gotta be up and this gotta be up and this. The time that I'm gonna spend talking about that, I'm gonna go make some money. So I got no time to sit and complain about nothing. I collected $8,000 from 4 wins in 2025, right? Give or take $8,000. I lost way more than that bodybuilding. So for me to ask for an increase of the purse, I'm gonna have to ask for $100,000 if I want to be real. I don't want it to go up to from 2,000 to 5,000. I need 20,000 per win. I know that's not gonna happen. So guess what I do? I'm gonna go build businesses to where I don't need their money, and I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
So if you're an athlete, if you're over 25, your frontal lobe is done growing. You should be smart enough to go make your bread somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
to me, it makes no sense that you got children and you're going to the show and you know you're gonna win $2,000 and you complain about the money of the show. So why are you going? So that means you're going because you like your ego stroked. Because you like to be mentioned on Instagram. Because you like to be a winner. Because whatever it is, hole in your soul that bodybuilding has to fill, you're still seeking that, and it's more important to you than going to make money for your family. Because if that wasn't the case, you would have left that industry and you would have gotten a job that pays you 6 figures. So for me personally, the money that I make from bodybuilding, I swear to you guys, I forgot about cashing the check for 2.5 months. Because it wasn't. And the Santa Cruz Pro, you can even ask the promoter, I left without the check. They called me a week later.
Jeez. Yeah.
Because I love bodybuilding. I love to compete. I like to see the best physiques compete. I like to see the show, with people that are getting together and having a good time. Look, let's not lie to ourselves. What are you going to do with that $2,000 really? Is it the flight? Is it the hotel room? Is it? And if they're going to increase it, how much are they going to increase it? Look, you're an adult. It's your responsibility to go make your money.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. If your mission is to provide and to figure it out, and I think that I do think that there is a conversation to be had where the purse increases for men's physique based off of the asses that it puts in the seats. But I also think that that's not an excuse. Like there's a difference between something being an excuse and wallowing in it versus something that you observe and you get up and actively do something about it.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you. Like there's no way, there's not food that's being put on the table because of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right. Gotta figure that out for sure if you haven't already. Especially to your point, if you're older, if you're an adult, it's go time.
It's so. One thing that I try to help my environment, the people that are close to me, I try to help them with saying this. I say, look, in clinical psychology, the definition of a healthy personality is an adaptable personality.
Absolutely.
And so we can talk about it at a level of when Bruce Lee was like saying, if you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. What is he trying to say? He was trying to say that a healthy person, psychologically speaking, is somebody who's adaptable. Water is adaptable, right? You put it in a cup, it takes the shape of the cup, right? So as adults, our time with our parents and our school and everything that we grow into, by the time we become completely grown right here, which is about 25 or so, we should have the skill of adaptability. Because the opposite of being adaptable is complaining.
Fixed mindset. Yeah.
Yes, it's like you give him a solution, he finds another problem. You give him a solution, he finds another problem. Or you give him a problem, he finds solutions. I love problems. People hate them. I love them. Why do I love problems? Because problems are opportunities to make money. The definition of business is solving a problem. The more problems you solve, the more money you're going to make. So I don't care whether they give $1 or 10,000. It makes no difference to me because my ability to provide, it's on me. I'm not going to wait for another grown man to put money in my pocket. I have to get up with the understanding that today I'm going to be the most adaptable to the environment. Can we change how life turns? We can't. Anything outside of you is outside of you. Can't control that. But you can control how you react to it. So when you approach business, when you approach relationships, the more adaptable you are, the better quality of life you're going to have. So anybody who's complaining about the purse of the money, they have low level of adaptability. You have an Instagram with 200,000, monetize that shit.
Yeah, it's true. I love this. I love hearing this, man. I love this perspective, man, because a lot of people need to hear it. A lot of people, like you said, they're a little bit delusional. They think that they're going to make a living off bodybuilding, and the reality is, they could do really well, but the reality is for a lot of people that they're not, and they need to be smart enough to make choices and provide for their family, not rely on the purse. And I love what you're saying. Like, you've gone out and done it yourself. You know, you've got your businesses, you've got multiple businesses around the world, and you're doing the bodybuilding just for the love of it, just for the love of competing, just for the passion of it. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people need to hear that because they see the glitz and the glamour, they see the Instagram photos, they see the 100,000 likes on a photo and think that's life. Social media is a highlight reel. No one knows what's going on behind the scenes, but for you to go out and do something about it and make it work and put bread on the table for the family and support yourself outside of bodybuilding, man, it's a good lesson for a lot of up and coming bodybuilders, current pros, current bodybuilders, the works. So, man, I really love that perspective, man.
Agreed. Hart?
Go for it.
Cool. Love all of that. Next question. So what does 2026 look like for you, for the Moroccan legend himself? What shows, if any, are you doing before the Olympia, or have you just decided, okay, well, we're just going to focus on business and preparation for the O? What are your next steps?
I'm off season right now, so taking the feedback, running with it. I'm week number 7 in my off season right now, trying to increase muscle mass in areas that need to be a little wider. So that was part of the feedback, especially up top, so I catch a little bit more width, a little bit more density in the chest area. So I'm just running with the feedback in the off season. So I'm gonna do that for as long as it's necessary to be able to see that I have solidified tissue, because quick off seasons are not, you can gain new tissue that's easily something you can lose on a prep. So the more denser, or the denser you want to be when it comes to stepping on stage, the more you have to be able to do an extended off season. So that's my plan, at least as of right now. And then when it's time to get ready for shows, I'll probably be doing something prior to the Olympia. I like to compete. It's not a one show thing for me. Like, I like to compete multiple shows in a row. And so I'm probably going to do that. But I would say 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out from the Olympia, I'll be getting back on stage.
Who do you think in the top 10 you are comparable to, and like especially during this off season, for you to break into that top 10? Who do you think that you would be comparable to? And you mentioned some of the areas that you want to work on, the chest, some thickness to the chest, and some other areas. If those things come up, do you think that you want to crack in that top 10?
If the goal was to crack the top 10, then I would agree with you. If my goal was to crack the top 10, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be an awesome thing to do.
Right. And
I'm not saying that I'm not aiming. So as soon as, see, the aim for me is always just limitless with what I do. Okay, so I never, I'll be honest with you, I have, at least for the past 5 or 6 years, I've never looked at anybody's physique and been like, I'm chasing that. So I'm just focusing on my ability. I'm in my own lane. I grab the picture of the physique, I put it in front of me. I'm like, this is what I gotta do. I do that, and I come back on stage, and then I get the next feedback. For as long as I do that, then I'm happy with it. Whether that wins the Olympia or it doesn't, it's no difference to me, if that makes sense. And that's been working for me thus far, because every time I've stepped on stage, I've been better or more competitive. Feedback that I get, for example, from Tyler, he'll say things like, keep doing exactly what you've been doing. All right, back at it. And so for as long that I'm doing that, then I'm not really, honestly, a whole lot paying attention.
Nice.
I want to ask you a question about, I mean, you've got quite a coach's eye. We've established that really early on in this call, but who impressed you the most at the last Olympia?
I think physique-wise, right?
Yeah.
Physique-wise, yeah.
Physique-wise, the guy from China who took sixth.
Fuyan. Yeah.
Yes, I think he's got the quite polished look that, in my eye, it's a statue's look, right? Like if I had to grab a statue and put it on somewhere and look at it and be like, that's a great physique, that's probably the physique that I'd pick, you know. And I don't like picking a physique because I'd rather pick the man than the physique, if that makes sense. Like people ask who's your favorite or if you think the greatest bodybuilder of all time, and you know everybody's mind goes to, for example, Ronnie Coleman, or mine goes to Jay Cutler because of the man he is, then the bodybuilder he is, and the three-dimensional person he is, then the person who gives back the most. So you know, I pick the people that I feel like are deserving based on who they are rather than the physique, if that makes sense. But if I had to go towards the physique, that would be him.
You won't hear too many of us disagree over here. We've been saying Fuyan has an incredible physique, very well polished, but definitely agree with you that the personality and the character is what makes the connection and makes you appreciate that person across from you, right? Obviously, the journey is your own, but you can appreciate someone else kind of with a similar trajectory as you do and a similar philosophy, cut from almost the same cloth. So definitely agree with that. Phil?
No, you go again, sir. I'm just going to reply back to this message. Someone's trying to call me, and I'm trying to deny these calls.
Yeah, I got plenty. So, you know, I could talk to Mehdi all day, and I got questions, for days. When you do your front pose and you come into your front pose, it's very unique. You do a transition from face to curtain, and then you turn around, and you almost have a matador-like posture when you're on stage. It reminds me a lot of like a matador and a bull coming at him. How your legs are a little bit more narrower than many of the other competitors that hit a similar front pose with, both hands down off hips. What made you adopt that style or that look? Was it something that just felt natural to you, or did you pull that from somewhere?
So I've been criticized a lot in the past on the posing for quite a while, and it's because I was just overthinking it. Believe it or not, this past year, so everybody says practice posing, right? And I've done that. I've done that in so many forms, ways, and angles. And every time I've done that, it just doesn't work. And every time, and so what I decided to do this last year, I promise you, I have not practiced posing the whole prep. I didn't look at my physique. I didn't look at nothing. I literally, the first time I hit the pose was on stage.
Wow.
So
are you serious?
The last 6 shows, I go straight to the stage. I hit it right where I want it. You know how sometimes you self-sabotage the more you practice?
Yeah.
And then you keep practicing, and then it gets just worse and worse, and you get frustrated, and you say, F this shit, I don't want to do it anymore.
We've all been there.
That's what happens. That's what happens right here. So instead, I'm like, the best time, every time I practice, the best time that I hit it is the first time. And everything else is shit. I was like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. My physique is going to be peeled. My physique is going to be separated. My physique is going to be round and full. All I have to do to hit the first pose right. So in all the wins that I've had this year, I just go on stage and I hit the pose and I'm out. The second part of it, and I like this, I honestly had a conversation with people that would ask about posing tips. And I say, think about yourself like you are, what would you rather be? The guy who has, let's just say, an automatic weapon, right? And 100 ammos and is just shooting everywhere and hits the target maybe once or twice? Or do you want to be the guy that's just a sniper? One bullet, one shot, straight dead on, and you're out. I said, everybody says the sniper. I said, well, that's what I do with my posing. I'm there for 15 seconds. They give us 45 seconds. I never take 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to the judges, like they tell me this. They say, even the last show that I did, the judge came up to me. He goes like, what I like the most is that you hit your poses and you're out. You didn't give us time to figure out flaws. You didn't give us time to figure out anything else. So people that think that the more they pose it better, they're dead wrong. Because if you give them 3 front poses, you're telling them pick. And guess what? If you're close to another athlete, you guys are close, they're going to pick the shitty one. They're not going to pick the good one. Because it makes it easier for them to judge.
It's true.
So be the sniper, hit your best shot to the front, hit your best shot to the back, turn around and hit that same best shot from the front and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And so that's since then, and it was Tyler who told me that because I asked him about my posing. And then it was again Tumen at the Santa Cruz Pro. And then it was in Italy, Bernadette. All 3 of them say the same thing. They're like, hey, we like that you just come hit your pose and you're out. There's not too much there. There's not extra transitions or extra anything. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's what I'm staying.
It's wild you say that. Bill said that the same thing at the Atlantic Pro. He and I were caught up, and he was like, yeah, one thing I like is athletes get up there, they hit it, they turn around, face the curtain, hit it, come back, hit the front shot, get off the stage. It saves us time, and it also we don't get a chance to see a flow. So echoed exactly what all the other judges that are top judges are saying, right? So all of them have this same philosophy that the more you show, the more we can pick you apart.
At the Olympia,
why would you want to show more?
At the Olympia, since there was like 60 plus athletes, we had Jack Sullivan come backstage and literally pissed off. And he said, guys, no T-walk, go straight to the box, hit your pose in, and move on.
Yeah.
It's like, you really think taking a whole minute to display, and I get why. I get it. Look, you worked your butt off for so many weeks. You want to take your time posing. Okay, take your time hitting the right shot. Take your time hitting the right back shot. Take your time hitting the right front shot. I take 5 seconds in the front, 5 seconds in the back, 5 seconds in the front. I take my time hitting all those 3 shots. But don't take it's like running in the wrong direction. It's still the wrong direction no matter how fast you run.
It's true.
So get rid of the extra stuff.
I like it. Mehdi, so much to talk about, man. We could be here for hours on hours. Boys, you got any other questions?
I got 3 words to describe this interview. I don't have any other questions, but wealth of knowledge, not only for the younger generation, but all of your peers, Mehdi, that are competing. I think when we rip this interview apart and we throw out 15 different reels, it's going to be an eye-opener for a lot of guys and just much appreciated by the MP community, brother. I'm so happy we got you on, bro. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it as well.
Yeah, Mehdi, great stuff. Hey, let me. I'm going to connect with you through Instagram, and let's connect numbers and everything. We want to have you back on the show, of course. That's got to happen, especially coming up to your next show. Lots to talk about, man. So let's connect
Yeah.
off the show here on IG and start cultivating a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to
Looking forward
quickly
to it.
piggyback on what Hart said, man. Like I was just sitting here, just absorbing everything, man, because it was, it's very rare to come across someone like you with so much wealth of knowledge, and just to be able to listen to you, with every word that you said, man. There's some stuff in there that I'm gonna definitely implement in my life, man. Like in terms of doing more and being more and just being a better athlete and competitor, and also like from the business side of things as well, man. So, man, I loved everything that you said, bro. And I really, really, hope we want to get you back. I mean, we're aiming to go to the Olympia this year, so if we can get something, in person, man. But maybe after you jump off stage, man, that'll be amazing to do as well.
Yeah, wait till you see the men's physique show at the O
Yeah.
and the fans around. It's
gonna
gonna
be cool.
a lot of fun, man.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what makes things just a bit easier for me, and you guys, some of you compete and things like that. Just if competing is the hardest thing you do in life, you really gotta reevaluate that life.
Spot on.
You really have to,
That is so
because to
real.
me, people say, "Well, how do you diet? How do you diet and run a business and do this and do that?" And I'm like, you guys have to understand, the easiest thing in my life is bodybuilding. Like it is, it's not. Having 6 meals with me right now is phenomenal. I don't gotta go out and find food. I don't have to worry about going to a restaurant later and waste an hour. That saves me time. Eating the same repetitive things, it hammers in my head the word discipline, 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 discipline. So when I sit in a room with other executives, or I sit with a room with other people that I'm doing business with, I am the most disciplined person. The physique that I carry is not like the other physique that people carry in the business world. A lot of people have high body fat, bellies in front of them. When I walk into the room goes quiet because you command some type of presence with the physique that you walk in. So what bodybuilding has given me is a lot more than what people see. So to me, bodybuilding is the easiest part of life. There's other things in life that are more difficult than bodybuilding, like building a business, like doing a lot of other things. Those are difficulties that have multiple things coming at you. Bodybuilding is dealing with yourself, your inner self. Business is dealing with your inner self and external.
True.
So it's much easier for me to deal with myself than it is to deal with both
Same
at the
time, yeah.
time. External and external. So yeah, if that's why when people, I see them struggling in bodybuilding and struggling with this journey, I say, I know it's not easy in your lens right now as you're looking at bodybuilding and dieting and all these things, but if you start seeing in it what it can do to your life, right? How it can positively impact your life so that you are a better person, man, what you can make of it is tremendous. Like I would have never been financially, free, or, where I'm at in financial standings without bodybuilding. There was no way, like absolutely no way. Yeah.
Agreed. Mehdi, thanks so much again, man. Thank you. We
guys.
appreciate you. Blessings, brother.
Thanks,
Have a
Mehdi.
great one.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mehdi. Thanks again.